Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I want to talk about how to max out your Roth IRA. So this is going to be for the previous tax year of 2022 and the upcoming of 2023. So let's go and jump into it here. I'm going to go through a couple illustrations of how much it might take to do this, investing per week and per month. So for 2023, the income limits have increased. So if you were under the age of 50 last year, 2022, the most you can contribute was $6,000. That has now been increased to 6,500. The same applies if you're 50 and older. It was 7,000 last year. Now it is 7,500. Income limits. So there is a limit as far as how much money you can contribute to these types of accounts. If you're single, you can't have a gross income of more than $153,000. And if you're married and you're filing jointly, that number cannot be more than $228,000. Contribution deadlines. So if you haven't completely maxed out your Roth IRA yet for 2022, which is that $6,000, you still have about 15 weeks, from the first week of January 2023. It's now like the third or fourth week of January, so that number is getting a little bit smaller. But for our illustrations today, we are going to use that first week in January. I think it was like January 2nd, that Monday, the first trading day of the year. I'm going to use that for my example. So you have up until April of this year to contribute to last year's Roth IRA income limit, or contribution limit, sorry. And then, projecting next year, this is an estimated date, April 18th of 2024. So you have about 60 some weeks or so to contribute to that one. So like I talked about, I'm going to use January 2nd as the as the date that, for this illustration, how much it would take starting from then. It's approximately 15 weeks. And if you contributed, $400 per week, you would get right at that $6,000 maximum. So you would, check the box and quote unquote max out your Roth IRA for 2022. So great. Moving along to 2022 still. So if you just did monthly, there's 4 months. 15 weeks was a little bit, since we're like halfway, or it was like the second week in April that is the cutoff date. But if you did it just monthly, you'd have 4 months and you'd have to contribute $1,500 a month. And then looking out a little bit further to the deadline date of 2023, you're gonna have 67 weeks, so definitely a lot more time to start working on this one. And that's going to take you $97 a week to hit that $6,500 goal. And then if you just want to do monthly, it would take around $240 a month, 240.74. Okay, moving along, there's tons of different investment strategies out there as far as what to invest inside your Roth IRA. This same type of idea applies into your 401k and your TSP funds as well. And that's just target date funds. So this is, in my opinion, the most passive way to do it. All you have to do is, determine your birth year, and, when you're going to approximately retire. Because then, within these funds, these funds are all managed. These particular ones are managed by Vanguard. But inside them include stocks, bonds, U.S. based, international based, and as time goes along, they are going to do the manual portfolio updates as you get closer to retirement. So earlier on, you're going to have a higher stock allocation, but as you get closer to your retirement, these funds are going to transition your portfolio into more of a bond allocated portfolio, just to take the risk off the table and to preserve your capital, because once you get closer to retirement, you don't want to take, on more risk with this particular strategy, and most strategies out there. Moving along, if you just wanted to pick individual mutual funds, which a lot of people just do, they don't want bond allocation. That's kind of like where I'm at for my retirement accounts. I'm not really, I have a long time horizon, so I'm not really interested in investing into bonds currently. So, a lot of people will go, 100% into VTSAX. That's the U.S. total stock market index fund. This is Vanguard's. All these examples are from Vanguard, by the way. So some people just do 100% VTSAX. Some people do like a combination of VTSAX and VTIAX. This US based and international based. These are some other ones if you want to do like some small cap or bond. Or if you just want to do the S&P 500 index, a lot of people like that strategy as well. That mutual fund would be VFIAX. And then once again, guys, these are all mutual funds, but there's ETF equivalents as well. Like, for example, this one is VOO, very popular one out there. This one is VTI. I think this one is like VXUS. I'm not sure what these two are, but if you just do some research, you should be able to quickly find those. And then down here is just a screenshot of kind of like the performance. So I think this was from 2022, because year to date so far, the S&P 500 is not down. Same with the rest of these other ones. So this is from 2022. Definitely a bear market last year. Who knows what the future holds? But last year was a red year. It is what it is. But looking over the long-term horizon here, 3 years. These are averages over 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and so on. So its inception date was 2000, 2010, 2001, 2011. It's returned, approximately 6.85%, 7.15%, and so on. I'm not sure exactly what Vanguard or how Vanguard calculated those. I don't know if that's like after fees and taxes, because I've seen on other websites that they're actually a little bit higher. But maybe this is like net fees, net taxes. But the cool thing about Roth IRA, you're not going to pay any taxes in those accounts. You'll pay up front, but after that, it's tax free for the remainder time after that. And then I think we have one more slide here, and I just grabbed this article from this Reddit group, Personal Finance. I'll leave a link in the description down below where you can check that out. And it's just talking about asset allocation. So briefly what it is, it's how you divide your money among the various asset classes in your account. So like I was talking about before, US based, international based, bonds, and there it talks about that. The core of your portfolio should be the three major asset classes: US stock market index funds, international stock market index funds, and bond index funds. A good starting point for your bond holding percentage is your age, right? So if you're 20 years old, 20% bonds. Subtracting 10 or 20% from your age would be even more aggressive. So if you were 20 and you were to subtract 10, you'd be at 10% bonds, 90% stocks. Or if you want to be really aggressive, you could do 0% bonds and 100% stocks. But this particular article says you shouldn't go below 10%, regardless of your age. And then they also they're recommending more of a international allocation. They said 20% at the minimum, but typically 30 to 40% is what they're recommending. And then they talk about the younger you are, the more risk you can afford to take. So you can be higher allocated to stocks. And then, like I mentioned before, as you go over, as you approach retirement and get closer to that, your risk tolerance is going to change, right? So a 25-year-old's investment will be very different from a 55-year-old. And then, like I talked about before, target date funds take the work out of all this for you. Like, it does it for you passively. And it automatically updates your exposure as you get closer to that retirement date. So I'll leave a link to this article or this form down below in this description, so you can go check that out. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Just talking about, a couple of different ways that you can max out your retirement account, your Roth IRA specifically, but a lot of this applies. Your traditional IRA is the same idea, same limits, same idea. It's just pre-tax instead of after-tax. But yeah, that's the rundown for this video. Hope you got some value from it. Feel free to like and subscribe down below. It helps us out a lot. Appreciate it for watching. Stay tuned for more content coming out next couple months.